Hello everybody, welcome to week 13 where we will be covering chapter 9, Pro-Social Behavior, which has been the basis of our Go Pro-Social project. And now you're finally having a chance to look at some of the research in chapter 9 on pro-social behavior and hopefully now start integrating it into the write-up of your project. So I have here for you the to-do list for the week. And again, I really recommend doing the things in the order that I've put them, mainly because that's the order I think is going to be most helpful for you. The first thing to do is to watch the podcast, which you're doing now, and then you want to read the chapter, go over the lecture slides along with the chapter. Remember, you can listen to the audio too of the chapter, which I think will be helpful for some of you if you want to read through it first and then listen to the audio, or vice versa. And then at that point, you're ready to go ahead and listen to the 2 lecture bursts I've done on this chapter. The first one deals mostly with bystander intervention and helping behavior. And then the second one deals with the latter half of the slides on altruism and empathy. So you can listen to both of those if you like. If you feel like you read the chapter and you've got it and you don't need any extra help, then you don't need to listen to the lecture burst. That's the great thing about it. Then you're going to want to go ahead and read the article. Article 28 deals with helping others, helping ourselves. So it looks at 2 different positions on empathy and altruism, and those deal with Batson and Cialdini's viewpoints on why we help. And so those are kind of like the primary viewpoints that you're going to be looking at, and you're going to tie into the homework for this week. Before you tackle that homework though, make sure that you've done the readings, and then you're going to want to go ahead and watch the videos that I've posted below. We'll go over them in a minute. Then you're ready to start the homework. The homework, you're going to be answering the questions and using Article 28 and Chapter 9 as your support to answer the questions. And we have an exam this week, covers Chapters 7, 8, and 9. As soon as this material is posted and you're able to view it, that exam is open. You have all week. So some students might want to take it early, some might not feel ready and want to wait till Sunday, but the exam closes on the 19th by 11:59 p.m. And then just a heads up, the Go Pro-Social project will be due next week. That's week 14 on Wednesday the 22nd. And I will have an assignment link in that week that you can click on to submit your final project. But I put an overview of that project here. If you click here, it's just going over the guidelines for that project, what you need to be doing for it, aside from the random acts that you've all been working on. What does the actual write-up of the project look like? I handed out those guidelines before we broke for spring break. So you had them and you were able to look at those, but just to overview and go over them again and recap, I've included it here. You can just see it's a very short video I did, just making sure that you're knowing what is required of you for the project. So go ahead and take a look at that, and it gives you over a week to work on that, finish it up, and get that done. Here are the objectives for the chapter that follow along with the lecture slides and the readings for this week. So again, this is a really good rubric to use for studying for the test. You're not going to be held responsible for anything that is not encapsulated in here in these objectives for the chapter. Here are the lecture slides, and here's the article, reading, helping others, helping ourselves. And here's where we start the videos. The videos follow along with the lecture. So in lecture, when it talks about one of these, you'll be able to kind of use those alongside this. So these are the videos I would normally be showing you in class during lecture. There's one on taking conformity, which we just learned about last week, into the situation of bystander intervention with the smoke-filled room study. Very short video. The story of Kitty Genovese and how that sparked the area of research on the bystander effect. A mock child abduction. It's kind of a what would you do scenario. You'll be able to see how people respond to what looks like a child abduction. What are bystanders doing? What happens? Why? So take a look at that. Same kind of thing, another what would you do episode of a baby left in a car. How do people react? Who gets involved and why? Who doesn't get involved and why? So those are some of the things to be looking for. And then lastly, on that same kind of line of reasoning, we have another situation where a fight breaks out and a woman is beaten by another woman while a bunch of people watch and even videotape it. And so this brings up the question of bystander apathy and electronic devices. How are our electronic devices impeding our ability to react and respond in a bystander intervention scenario? So you can kind of take a look at that and see what your thoughts are. This is a video that has to do with empathy. And so in the lecture slides, I'm going to talk about the difference between empathy and sympathy and why empathy is important in altruistic behavior. Without it, we cannot act altruistically. And so Brené Brown is a sociologist, but studies nursing scholars, done a lot of research on empathy, and she put together this nice little video skit, and it does a really great job of just conceptualizing empathy. I have a crash course video on the difference between aggression versus altruism. So altruism is the topic we're covering this week in pro-social behavior. Altruistic acts are often referred to as pro-social behavior. And how is that very different from aggression, which we're going to be looking at next week? This is a great video to look at for now, and then just kind of a preview for next week. And that wraps up the videos. And so your homework this week, I've pulled it from your homework guidelines. You're integrating what you know from Chapter 9 and Article 28, and you're using that knowledge to support your answer to this question here. The article cites two different theories for why people help other people. One is Batson's position, and one is Cialdini's position. They're two kind of different viewpoints as to why people help. Neither is right or wrong, but you may agree more with one than another. So I just want you to state which one you agree with more and why. Why does it make sense? Discuss your reasoning behind that. So here's where it would be great to integrate even in previous chapters that we've talked about when it comes to social norms, when it comes to influence, social thinking, perception, cognition. These are all topics we've covered in past chapters that have built upon one another that would help you format a nice answer to this question. Okay, so I really want to see you guys integrating in those readings to support your answer there. And when you're ready, you click right into the homework tab and submit that assignment. And then the exam for this week is chapters 7 through 9. Again, 50 questions. You'll have 70 minutes to complete the exam. You are allowed to use your notes and your book, but remember that that takes time. So the more time you take looking up questions, you're going to feel a little more stressed out. So try to be well prepared for the exam, and that way you can get through it in a good amount of time. Make sure to leave yourself enough time. You want to leave at least an hour to take the test. The test will close automatically at 11:59 p.m. So if you take it too close to 11:59 and you're still in the middle of it, it will kick you out and you'll be done. So don't cut it too close to that deadline. And after 70 minutes, the test also will kick you out. So once you pass that 70-minute limit, wherever you're at, it's gonna stop you. So just remember that, okay? And so when you're ready, you can click in here and you can take that exam. Once the deadline has passed on the exam, you can go back into My Grades and see what you got, and you can see some feedback on questions that you got wrong as well. So that wraps up the week. I hope that all of that makes sense. Again, as any of you are having questions or need clarification on anything, please let me know. I didn't put in here, but continue to be posting to the ProSocial discussion forum. That's how I'm monitoring your participation. I've noticed a lot more people contributed this week, which is awesome. I'm trying to give feedback on what I see happening there, and it's all very positive, very great stuff. So just continue doing that, okay? That's going to be a great way for me to gauge participation. It'll probably look a little different come next week. Might have something else for you to do in terms of participation, but for now, that's what we got. And so you want to be using what you've been working on in your GoProSocial project to put that in there. You can comment on other people's random acts. As long as I see you engaging and active there, you're getting your credit for your participation points, okay? Hope everyone has a safe and healthy week. And again, just let me know if you have any questions.